everybody, welcome back to Ogre Speed Shop. So we're getting into round 2 of the C30 build. So let's go ahead and get into it. So what is it we're doing today? On the pole truck, we are playing around with the winch, and I already got the lock engagement freed up and released. So pull the cable out, because you can see it's all wound up there, and it's not much good for cable anyways. So if we're gonna try to get this thing working, we don't need that cable in there. So I'm gonna try to pull it out. It was wrapped around backwards in some areas. Now it's tied in there pretty tight. I'd like to get that out of there. Oh, I see. Yep, let me get that lubed up. There's like a U-bolt thing over here that holds it in place. I think it's called a I can't remember what it's called. Maybe a shackle or something. Let's see if we can break that loose or not. Of course, they put it where you can't lock in the hub, huh? There we go. Now I need to put some force on that thing with the breaker. Needs some cleanup and some work and lubrication, but overall, we're going to see if we get this PTO to actually work, be useful for us. I guess the chain underneath that's not attached to anything. And they're unlocking something. I don't know. We'll figure it out though. Just playing around right now. It's definitely a lot nicer being at home with my tools. Like being in the field trying to do all this stuff and realizing you forgot stuff. Okay, it's 11/16 and I gotta get a wrench because it ain't gonna fit. Alright. Oh, super easy. Got an extra wrench thinking I might need the leverage, but definitely not. Okay, I need some of the ratchet. Shorter socket. Alright, let's try this. Make it a little faster here. All right, now let's get that cable pulled out of there. Hit my head on the cables. So you're just using a U-bolt. Unravel it this way because it's wrapped. Careful of flying cables. Look at you. Alright, so step one, we got the old cable off of there. And we got our spinner free, so pretty cool. Alright, so let's just see if we can get power to that thing at some point. So I think this video is going to be basically a cleanup video. Get in here and vacuum everything, get all the mats out of it, get everything out of it so I can pressure wash everything. There's piles of rat poop everywhere, and so yeah, I gotta get this thing clean so it's a little nicer to work on. And then we'll get it, see what we can do to get it running. I also found the oil pressure sensor. Oh, it's a switch for the idiot light, but yeah, so we'll be able to do that too. Get some oil pressure gauges on there and see what we're doing. I'm gonna play around with some of these latches. This one here is just broken, needs to be repaired. So I'm not worried about that one, but this one here, see how it's kind of bent and expanded over so it can't close. It's hitting the metal onto the edge. And these ones over here do the same thing. So they don't close all the way. So the metal's hitting before whatnot. So I'm gonna get a hammer and start hammering on these. Try to get them straightened out. Oh, this one needs to be really worked. So that's not even the hinge isn't even moving, so that might be the whole problem. It's gonna break off rather than come loose. So I'm gonna have to work on those hinges a little bit before I break the metal. You can see it's starting to see the little white mark. That's breaking the welds. So I might just have to replace the hinges on them. This one's actually moving, so it just might take something like that. Oh, it's broken right there. Where is it? No, it ain't. When I get that, that one should be fixed pretty easily. That one's breaking the hinges. Looks like it's got a thorn in her foot. This one, the hinge is moving, so we should be able to knock that one back into location, I think. Just needs to be pounded down. Kind of love days like this where it's sunny out and yeah, it's raining. Just to give you an idea of what I'm dealing with right now, I got the tank out. I can sell it in with 6 or 7 bolts with little straps. I'll show you those here in a second. So right now I'm dealing with these corners. That's supposed to go down in about, I don't know, 8 inches. They're completely full, so that's what I'm dealing with right now. And I'll start pulling the mats out later. But see, the rockers are pretty bad here and the floors. But we'll see what we get after underneath it, because I repaired all this stuff on my other truck for 144 bucks from Summit. So it could be done, but that's what we're looking at. So yum. I'm not going to show you all that though. The tank's right over there. Oh yeah, the straps are these right here. These little plastics, or not plastic, these metal tabs that bolt in and hold it in. All right, we got it pretty well vacuumed up. The holes are cleaned out. I am going to pressure wash in here, so it's going to get a lot cleaner. We're going to pull this mat out first and see how bad the floors are. This side's got some extra. Doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy. Well, pretty much as expected. Floor pans, rockers, kind of inner floor pans inside here. But you can get those patch panels. Like, okay, so the rocker, inner rocker, and the floor pan patch, which is just the front piece. I got those all for 144 bucks, which isn't too bad in my opinion. And so definitely need all that. They do make another patch piece that goes right here. I don't know if you can see where I'm pointing at, but that floor section right there, they have a patch panel that they make for that. So you can patch the whole thing, or you can get the whole floor, but you still need rockers for like $500–600. So might be cheaper, might be more expensive. I don't know yet. Last time I checked, it was $460 something for an AMD complete pan, and might have been even cheaper for the manual style, because we're gonna pull that cover off too here in a minute. But yeah, just got the mats off, so now we're down to the actual metal floors, and that kind of basically what I expected. So definitely some rust work. This the cab corner wasn't as bad as I thought it was, but still needs to be replaced, at least on this side. So you got some rust popping through right there, but it didn't come through in here as much as I thought it was going to. But I also haven't scraped it all out yet, so this side over here, I can't remember if the outside's rusty. Oh God, it's a lot of crap. Now, this side's actually pretty solid, so it just needs to be cleaned up. So we're going to pull some more stuff out of here, like the gauges, pretty much everything under the dash, just to be easier to clean and make it easier for Brian. I almost forgot. Just like in any typical fashion, every truck I've bought so far, it's some kind of round in it. It's another little 22. All right, today was spent cleaning. So we got the bed all scraped out, got the interior cleaned up. It's definitely see all the rust now, so I'd say probably, most likely, I don't know, full floor plan pan probably would be the best bet on this. Got the gauges out so I can pressure wash. I'm not worried about the rest of the stuff in here because it doesn't work anyways. But the gauges usually work, and it's got a printed sticker on the back of it, so I'd rather leave it. I took out all the padding in the back of these things here too because it was junk anyways. I guess I didn't get all of it. There we go. There's the rest of it. So tomorrow is going to be pressure wash day. But for tonight, I am done. I need a shower. This thing was dirty. Dirty, dirty, dirty. So, yeah, I think this side's definitely a little worse. The glove box is always nice. All four that I've got are real nice. But anyways, until tomorrow. This is before. I'm going to remove the air cleaner and bag everything, distributor and carburetors, to be able to get everything out from underneath it and everything too. So all right, let's get her clean. Well, it made it a little bit easier to work on and not so messy. Kind of hard to tell that I actually cleaned it here because of the rust, but overall it's a lot cleaner than it was. And the biggest improvement is, well, the engine actually has some color now. Got all the dirt off of it, and it's actually looks like Hugger orange, or whatever orange it was back then, Chevy orange. So overall, not too bad. Got a lot of the crap out from underneath there and down inside these holes and everything. So I got the transmission a little bit cleaned up. The next phase of this, it'll be a lot easier to clean this, and we'll talk a little bit more about that later. I tried spraying out a bed, but it just collects water, so I need to be able to drive it so I can, you know, spray it down, then drive it and let it run off. But the center cover is pretty nice. Not a lot of rust on that. Those actually stand up pretty good for the most part. So yeah, that's where we're at right now. Now that we got a cleaner engine bay and a little cleaner car, truck, cab, we're gonna see if we can get this running and actually drive it some. So that's the next step. There's wind here, I'm sorry, but so I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to use it, make the key work with the ignition switch. And I'm looking here, if you see this wire right here, it's got the fabric around it. That's a resistor wire, because this had a point system before, and it must have been reduced to like 6 volts or something, or 9 volts. So in order to make the HEI work, we need full power, which makes sense is why they had to switch over, or had a switch under the dash for this. So we might just keep that. I want to try to keep the get the starter working at least. So I don't know why the purple wire wasn't working before from the ignition switch when we had power going to it over here. That's the power wire, goes to the, well, it used to go to here, and that ran to the battery. But yeah, so we're gonna figure that out. If we get power to the cab, we can get power to the starter. All right, so what I did for this resistor wire here is I pulled it out. You see that connector? Well, I have those. So I'm gonna put one of those connectors on here so we get full 12 volts to the HDI distributor, because we don't need it to resist it down for this. So that's what we're gonna do, and just replace that pin. Pretty simple. All right, so as you see, I got that crimped on there now, and it goes the ignition to the HDI over there. We made that the other day, my last video. So let's get this plugged into the firewall. So then we have ignition hot. All right, so we got that installed now. See this nice, bright, clean one down in there. All right, so I've been doing some wiring here, and now this is one lead's connected to the main, to the battery power. One's to the ignition coil, or the ignition, whatever, the HEI. So now watch. You'll hear it on, so that's ignition, and cranking, so it keeps the ignition the whole time. So changing out that resistor wire allows for cranking power as well. So we're good to go. All right, we have the key mounted back in the dash, and we can now crank it from here. It should work. So let's go find out. Let's get the battery out here and see if it'll crank. Get the battery hooked up. Let's see if she'll crank. All right, she's cranking. Well, let's see if we can get her to start. Put some gas in it. Well, she don't seem to want to figure out why it wouldn't start. That coil connection was bad. And I've already replaced it already, and it fired up. So let's go do it again from inside the cab this time. See some fire up from in here. Ugh. Put the seat back in. Control the pedal a little bit here. Out of gas. All right, so she fires up from inside the cab now, which is cool. Now we just gotta get better at pedal control, because that thing just sticks. It's either on or off. So that carburetor is pretty much junk. So it just like sticks. Can't get any control on it. So, but yeah, she runs. Just a bad coil. I gotta figure out a fuel system or something. I don't think my 2-barrel carbs will work on this thing. But well, maybe I can find one at a junkyard or something. I don't know. We'll figure something out though. I looked to see what the exhaust is down here, but I just now noticed something. There's a chunk of it. Oh yeah, came right out of the muffler. Oh boy. What the rest of it is like. Maybe it's clogged up here. That's why it sounds so funky. Once I had it revving, it actually sounded pretty decent. I didn't hear any knocking or clacking. I gotta look up a pressure gauge, oil pressure gauge, though. Now that I know where it's at, right down there. That thing right there. That's just a switch that goes to the light, so I need a gauge so I can see what it's doing. I think I'll pull this carburetor off of here and see what I can do with it. But that, the way it's all loose and everything. Just see how loose that thing is. So you gotta find a new one or figure out a way of fixing that one. I have the carburetor off the truck out there, and right now I'm just trying to clean it all up. You can see how the throttle linkage is bent, so I gotta straighten that out. What else did I find? Just a few things that need to be basically cleaned and you know, made better. So we're gonna get her cleaned up and see if we can make her work a little better. I don't know if I'll be able to find a rebuild kit or not, but look how bent that is. And the screw that holds it in was bent too. I don't think it's the original, but who knows? I'm not sure. I'm not real familiar with these carbs, but we'll figure it out. All right, so far I've straightened out the accelerator lever, so it works now. And I changed the screw too because it was bent. So it's just an 832 screw. I put that on there. But check this out. You can see down in there, the accelerator pump works. So that's good. So we're gonna get everything else apart and clean it up, seal the leaks, because it does leak from the bottom when the bowl fills up. So make sure all that's cleaned up and just clean the whole thing up and get her back on the truck. All right, so I got her all clean and put back together. Here's a pain in the butt because this linkage right here was a pain to get back together. So freeze frame this, take a picture. If you ever take this thing apart, then you know how these levers go. So let's get it put back on the truck and see if we can get it to fire up with it. Get some fuel going to it, because the fuel pump actually pumped yesterday. So we're gonna try that out too. So something definitely isn't sounding right, but she was just idling a second ago. See if she'll do it again. Got some noises going on. She got her moved over here by driving it, but it doesn't seem to be pulling fuel, so I'm gonna try it again. That sounds like we lost spark. Or it's just completely flooded and leaking fuel everywhere. Gas. Oh yeah. Yeah, it's pulling gas, but it's just it's flooding it, overflowing. So the fuel pump works. We just got to get the carburetor stop leaking. At least I got a little bit closer to the shop. Make sure we still have spark. We're just super seriously flooded right now. You have spark. It's just it pulled too much fuel. And obviously the fluid ain't working. I'm gonna crank it a little bit more, see if we can get it to move. Up here, hammer. Oh, hammer time. Yeah, it just floods out instantly as soon as I have gas going to it. But at least you know the fuel pump is good. I just got to figure out why the carburetor just wants to spew everywhere. I think I know because it's crap, but I just cleaned it up and thought I sealed it, but apparently not. Back to these drawing boards. We can actually pull the top of this carburetor off, get to the float. This freaking hose here is just a pain in the butt. Just not closing the float. Whoop. Let's take her out of gear. That was fun. Okay, let's see if cranking it now. Put the hose back down in there. Yeah, that float ain't doing crap, is it? Let's hold it in place. What the heck? I'll be back when I figure it out. Well, I got the carburetor off again, and I don't know what the deal is with the float, but I can't get it to line up right. I even like elongated the slot on that, because I don't know how it came out of there, but there's no way it would have gone in there and lined up. So even if I do figure it out, here's the dilemma. I pulled the carb off after the needle fell. It fell down into here. And I pulled the carb off, and when I pulled the carb off, I forgot that the needle had fallen down in there. So I dumped it out to get all the fuel out of it. So it's over here in the grass yard area somewhere, and I don't know where it's at. You would think that it being brass, it would be shiny and kind of glisten a little bit, but I can't find it. So might just have to wait on a new carburetor. But I think in the time that I'm waiting on that, what I'm going to do, because it is making some noise, about pulling the valve cover, just make sure we don't have any broken push rods or bent push rods or what's making that knocking. We're going to get under the truck too and check out the PTO, make sure that's not what's making the noise. I don't know if there's a inspection cover for the clutch. Make sure there's no nesting animals in there. This thing did set for almost 20 years, I think. And I'm still finding nesting everywhere in it, down in here. So no telling what might be in the bell housing. But just want to see, there's definitely some kind of knocking, and I want to figure out what it is. So we do have a working fuel pump, so if we can get a carburetor, we should be able to get it running pretty good. But anyways, I'm rambling. So yeah, stupid carb. I don't know why the floats weren't working, but I mean, if you look at it, here I can show you. So with this pin, so that pin in there like that, this float goes in here and seats down inside there like that, right? Well, it's supposed to float up, but before the notch, come on, focus. So before this notch was actually like cut off like right in that area right there. So I elongated it, but you see how it doesn't line up with the seat down there unless it's like that. So I don't know what's going on or how it was in there in the first place, but I'm sure I'm missing something and doing something wrong. But yeah, that's the problem I'm having with this stupid little thing. All right, so one of the things I noticed about the PTO, this ain't attached to anything, the handle. So I'm trying to figure out what it's supposed to go to. You can see a bolt right there with a bolt and a nut right here. And I look right here, and there's a broken off bolt inside the transmission. So I think that's where the lever's supposed to go. And then I'm not sure if you pull it or push it to turn it on or what, but we gotta get that bolt out of there. Fun. But yeah, that's your PTO right there. I'm worried about something in there being engaged or something that was making that weird knocking noise. But, or it could be the engine, who knows. Well, I got that bolt out. WD-40 some heat and I started drilling it. It just loosened up and came out. So, we gotta get the other part off of the lever, put a new bolt in there and see what happens. So I was repairing this, the bolt came right out. But then it stripped out as soon as I tried tightening it down at all. But I was able to get it to engage and disengage. So I'm not sure which is which. If that's engaged or if that's engaged, or anybody know? Is it in or out? I'm gonna have to look that up. And then I gotta figure out, probably do a helicoil or a time cert to fix that stupid thing. Can't have it like that. Oh well. Well guys, I figured I found the needle. And I found this emulsion tube that shot across the shop earlier into the truck. Because, you know, my stupid ass, because I was frustrated, I dumped this all out. And everything fell out of it. So, I was doing this wrong. Now, the video I saw had this on a some kind of wire. But this just goes on top. Like that. And it holds it down with pressure. So we're going to do that and see if that'll work. It's running, idling even. Exhaust sounds horrible, but it is actually idling. Let's get an oil pressure gauge hooked up. Look how the other noise is. The PTO's spinning. See if we can disengage it so it's not making so much noise. Okay, so there's a neutral and I guess there's two different directions. So that's forward is forward, and the middle is off. Oh nope, that's reverse. So somewhere in the middle. There we go. PTO's off now. All right, this thing fires right up now. So still want to check the rockers because there's definitely some noise coming from that, so they might be out of adjustment. And we gotta get an oil pressure gauge hooked up. I think the only one I have is electronic. I need an extension to make that thing work. Yeah, that's that one right there. So that won't fit in the hole without an extension. So I gotta see if I have one laying around here someplace. I think I do, but I can't remember where it's at. So that'll be fun. Although it was messy when I pulled the switch out. It poured out oil, so that's a good thing. It means it's got oil up to that point. And I just had some fittings here, and I've already lost them. Try to conjure up a way of putting the gauge on there. Did I leave them out here? Okay, well anyways, I'll be back when I'm done. All right, so considering the oil mess it made, spewing all over the ground when I tried cranking with that sensor out, let's say we have oil pressure. And I just added about 1.5 quarts. It was a little bit low, and I spilled a bunch of it. So we should have plenty of oil. And I think we're gonna take it for a drive, at least around the yard. I'm gonna put the seat in first though. All right, we're gonna see if we can take it for our first drive around the yard here. Doesn't have any brakes, doesn't have any cooling, and I'm pretty sure we have oil pressure, but let's see what we can do. Helps to hook the battery up. All right, round two. Fires right up now. brakes. Yeah, whatever, just stall it out. Now you can chalk it. I think it broke the wheels and stuff now that it needs some kind of wheel chalk. What we got? I got a piece of wood. That ought to do. Yep. Main reason being I don't like to leave it in gear because I might forget and then start it and then run myself over. There we go. Let's do it. Lube the handles. But anyways, pretty successful first drive. It was a pain in the ass because the throttle is tough with the spring I got on there. But overall, I am quite happy. It runs, it drives. Yay. So I'm pretty happy with this thing. And I think the rattling noise is actually coming from the transmission. But I can't tell if it's that, PTO or what, but I don't think it's an engine knock, but it's hard to say. It might be the exhaust. Who knows? Sounds kind of like a semi-truck driving though once it hits second gear. It's kind of funny. But definitely need to do an oil change because, check that out, the oil filter's got a nice little hole in it. But another reason to believe that I have oil pressure. So we got oil pressure, we got the fuel pumps working. So it was driving around on its own. The carburetor's not leaking anymore, at least not that I can tell. So I think we're doing good to getting this thing drivable. We just need to do some brakes on it. But yeah, and a cooling system, that would help too. And what is that? Man, I wonder if that came out of the radiator hose, what it kind of looks like. But that might be why, because it had coolant in it, green coolant. But I don't know, we'll figure it all out though. I think I'm done for the day though. It's been a long day getting this thing going, rebuilding the carburetor, losing parts, throwing parts, well, launching parts across the shop. But luckily we found everything works now, so definitely looks like we need probably a valve cover gasket too. But I ain't worried about all that yet. But she's running, she's driving, pretty cool. Well, good morning everybody, another fine morning, having my coffee here. So today we're going to get back onto do some more work on the 69 C30. And that's going to be, we got to get this boom off of here. Why do we got to get the boom off? Because it won't fit in the shop. And if we're going to be doing brakes or any kind of work underneath it, I want to be on the cement and, you know, eventually got to take it in the shop to do the next stage of this build anyway. So might as well get it off now so I can pull it in there and work on the underside of the truck. So that's what we're going to do today, get that boom off there. I bet something that would make this easier to do is if I had a boom truck. But it's the only one I got, so we got to get this thing off here so we can get it in the shop. So I'm thinking probably the quickest and easiest way to get this off of here. See, these are already loose. So it's, by the look at the tensions on the cable, I can move this by hand. So it's not super heavy, but it's not exactly going to be light either. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove those support bars. And then I'll probably just cut the cable. Maybe support it somehow. I don't know. I got to figure out if there's some way I can support it. Because those pieces up there are all welded. You have bars welded across them. So I'll have to change something on that. But I don't want to completely ruin it or anything because I may end up putting it back on at some point. But I think it's probably going to be the best bet is to cut the cable. Does it even have tension on it? How's that thing staying up there? These aren't holding it. The cables don't seem to be holding it. Is it jammed into here maybe? It's just held in by pins. I don't know. But don't worry, I'm going to record it so we get to see the debacle. Time for an impact. Maybe. cutoff wheel. Get the impact. Alright, no support there now. And yet, it's still loose. Well, next fun part, we're going to cut those cables. I'm going to stay behind everything. That way, hopefully I don't get injured. Guess that was all that was holding it. How heavy is this thing? It's pretty stout, but it ain't that bad, I guess. Easy enough. So the bottom of it is just pinned in with these. Add this to my pile of old cable. To get these pulleys off of here, I think cutting it's just going to be the easiest thing since I got the grinder out here already. I wasn't cutting the pulleys. Some of the welded bolts or nuts on here and had a stud going through or a bolt going through it just to hold it in place so it wouldn't fall out. So I just cut those and I can always replace that with another bolt. I don't know how I'm going to carry this thing though. It'll be perfectly balanced. I can just pick it up like this, like a strong man, and just carry it away. What are the odds of that? Actually, pretty good. Fucking slippery. Watch out, Eddie Hall and Brian Shaw. I'm coming for your title. Yeah, right. All right, we got the main boom off. I'll probably go ahead and take these stanchions off too since they're less than stellar. But yeah, easy peasy. Although I kind of already missed the boom. It kind of gives it character, but it's cool too, just the way it is. One of the things I discovered yesterday is this oil filter has a pinhole in it. So we're going to change that out real quick. I'm not going to do a full oil change on it yet. But that's leaking. I don't want that to continue to leak. I don't know if that sensor back there is leaking as well, or I might use that housing to use the extension to extend it out to put a gauge on there. I don't know yet. All right, so we got a new filter on there, so that won't be leaking anymore. Let's see if we can get that gauge to work, or get a gauge in here so we can see what the oil pressure is actually doing. Okay, so I hooked up a makeshift oil light here. And so we're gonna see if that lights up. And then we'll crank it and see if it goes out. If it does, then I'll wire this into the truck too. Okay, there we go, we got light. So let me crank it. Let me set you guys up so you can see it too. And then we'll go from there. Where did I put my stand? Never know where I put, there it is. All right, we can see the light through the camera. So let's see if it goes out when I crank it. So it's in gear. So if this light goes out when we crank it, it means our sensor's good enough that we can use that instead of worrying about a gauge. Though I like having a gauge to know exactly how much it is. So it's on now. Let's crank her. Well, it's dimming. Let's see if it needs to be started. See if it goes out, if it starts. If not, then either we got a bad switch or we don't have oil pressure. It went out. Or did it just disconnect? So it's still showing oil pressure right now, apparently. Or did the bulb burn out? Okay, there it is. Give it a little bit more gas here. I did just change the oil filter on it, so maybe you need to be up here where everybody can see you. Still good? Yep. Okay, let's see if she goes out when she starts. God dang it. How's that? Can you all still see it? No. Cable. Okay, there's light. It's fired up. And it goes out. She's cold-hearted, but so I'm gonna leave you guys hooked up here if I can get it to stay. Okay, there's our light. Definitely needs some tuning, but let's see if the light comes back on. Look at that. Oil pressure went down, light came back on. All right, so we can just do a light. That sensor works. So still have most of the wiring. So you just gotta hook into this blue wire right here and then run that to the cab, and we can tap into that and have the light on the inside. So yay. All right, so we got the light installed in here. And yes, I just used these, dang, get out of here, you stupid flying wasp thingy. Go out. The window's open. There you go. So I got the light installed inside now, so we can see it from inside. Let's see if it turns on. There it is. Let's see if it goes away. Look at that. Nested. And a few seconds later, it should turn back on. The ignition switch needs the seat back on and off. Get out of here. And back on. Takes a few seconds for it to turn back on, but there it goes. This mud dauber is really starting to bug me. All right, so we have a working oil light now. And don't worry about the splices, because they are gonna, this wiring I'm sure is gonna get redone. God, this guy is just ridiculous. All right, so one thing's for sure, some of the weird sounds coming from when it's running is no doubt coming from that muffler right there. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut her off and get rid of her. That way I know it's not clogged up or anything. Looks like the hanger's broken right here, so I'll probably cut right behind it and maybe wire tie that back up. What is that cable? What is that cable for, I wonder? What the heck could that cable be for? Oh, something to do with PTO, by the looks of it. I don't know, we'll figure it out. Maybe it might be an idle control of some sort. But yes, going through the exhaust here, or just hanging on the exhaust, I guess. But anyways, I'm gonna cut this off. Yeah, that thing wasn't doing much good. Probably clogged up too. See how it sounds now. This is gonna probably be a lot louder. Sound much different, but can't tell where that noise is coming from. Not much too longer, but listen to this. Found the major rattle. It's a throwout bearing, and I think the rest is exhaust leaks. shifter adjustment. Alright, so we got a little makeshift fuel or cooling system in here now. This is the radiator out of the S10 over here. And the thermostat housing and the hoses. So hopefully that'll work. We'll see. I don't see why it wouldn't. You have to use the thermostat housing neck because the hose is so small compared to the original. But it fits on there. Just gotta put the gasket on. Well, if that's accurate, that's pretty quick. The 190 already. I guess it wasn't too bad for a first longer drive. The thermostat, well, the hose was loose and started spewing out of that, but it wasn't even that loose. But other than that, it seemed to be all right. Temperature definitely rose up. I feel like the thermostat might have opened. The hose is hot, so I don't know. This thing is a pain in the butt to drive without brakes. And the fuel tank was falling. Not bad. And I think most of the noise is coming from the transmission. Well, with it running out of gear in neutral, I can make the PTO move. So we're running right around the hot, so about 200. Why is that so freaking zoomed in? So it's definitely a little warm. But I have no fan shroud, no real way of controlling it right now. So if it's staying around that ain't horrible. It runs fine once you warmed up. I think the next step is going to get some brakes on this thing. And definitely a better cooling system because that's definitely going high. I would definitely say the thermostat's opening up. That's hot. Got pressure. So, yeah, I think something's working. Definitely warm, running a little bit warm, but look at what we have. We got all this opening area, no fan shroud, this old ass mechanical fan. But hey, something's happening. I wonder if it's charging. That'd be funny. Have to plug the regulator back in, but suppose we can test it. All right, so I plugged the voltage regulator back in, make sure it's out of gear. That ain't gonna show nothing, but let's see if it's charging. That would be a no. Didn't really think it would. Yeah, it didn't move from 12.4, even revving it up. So no charging system yet. Yeah, the likelihood of this regulator being any good is pretty slim, judging by how nasty it looks. I do have another one from that originally, but converted it to internal regulated. So, but yeah, we could try it, a different one maybe later. I ain't too worried about it right now. It's not like I'm driving, taking a road trip in this thing or anything. So yeah, pretty good. Definitely doing something. The radiator's making noise, but I don't see any leaks, which is good. Anything that's down there right now is probably from me spilling it while I was filling it. And pressure. I stole that off of that, so I need to get it back. Same with the battery. So we had another good day with the old beast here. I don't know if I'm gonna name it or not, but it's gotta wait till the final plans for it before I want to name it. So, but she runs, she drives. I got temperature or a temp gauge. I got the oil light now. Trying to figure out the PTO. I mean, it works. You just gotta engage it and then left clutch and it drives it. Transmission, I think, is what's making all the noise, and it might be because of the PTO. But I don't know. I have to dig into it and see. But that's something for later. What the hell was that? Oh well, the wind blew the tank over. Nice. But anyways, good day. It's time for me to go inside and relax. So I was thinking maybe I could use this tank again, but there was a stream of nastiness going right down through here. I wasn't sure if it's still any good or not. And then as I got the rest of it cleaned, there is a hole. These tanks are cheap enough that I'm not even worried about it. And I don't know if I want to run it behind the seat one anyways, because being 6'5", any room I can get to push the seat back further, I want to do it. So, you know, we'll worry about that at another time. I still have I had another tank here that I could always use. It doesn't have any holes in it. It's nasty inside, but it could probably be cleaned up. For, you know, worst case scenarios, I can use this one. And it came with that cab over there, so might just be going back into it. Don't know yet. Well, I think that's gonna do it for this video on, you know, I guess part 2 of getting the 1969 C30 1-ton dually pole truck running and driving. I think next we're going to be working on brakes and getting it more drivable. Also, we're going to be moving into the next phase of this build, and make sure you like, comment, subscribe so you can follow that, because it's going to be pretty big. So just want to make sure everybody gets to see it. So like I said, if you like this video, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff, share with your friends. So for everybody who's been here this long, I appreciate it. So until next time, I will see you all later.